As you can see, this is the same Plyo box that I built almost 3 years ago. It doesn't quite look as new and shiny as it did. Today, we are gonna look back at this DIY Plyo box video and answer the most common questions to try to assist you in building your box 3 years later. The most common question by far was, what type of screws did I use for this Plyo box? I used, not saying that you have to, I used 2-inch number 8 screws. I would probably go smaller to number 6, but yes, so I used 2-inch. One of the things that I also did that I think made life a lot easier is that I pre-drilled all of my holes. So did pilot holes for all of them. I also used a countersink bit so that the screw would be a little bit more down into the wood. This type of screw that I have, which I'll link in the description, will pull itself down into the wood anyway, but you might have an issue with cracking. So I'm gonna go ahead, turn my screen record on, we'll open the video up, and we'll go through some comments. Oh, this is one of the top questions is, how thick was the plywood? Evidently, it totally slipped my mind that this is 3/4 inch plywood. Can't believe I'd never said that in the video. That's one of the most important things in the video. 3/4 inch plywood, so very heavy box. Top comment, anyone else here because they're making a Plyo box during quarantine? Which I already alluded to. The video is doing very well because there's a lot of people out there like myself that want to build some boxes. Also, I built 3 of these, and let me start off by saying this box obviously doesn't look very well. I leave my boxes outside all the time, and this is 3 years later. It is under the eave of the house, so it doesn't get direct sunlight and it doesn't get direct rain, but it definitely gets wet. And I'm in Southeast Louisiana, and it gets, yeah, it's disgusting outside. So I think for staying outside for 3 years, it's done a pretty good job. Eye protection, bro. I know. Looking back on that video, it's like, so I'm really good about ear pro, but eye protection, I forget all the time. So thank you for calling me out. Continue to do so. I'm sure I'll upload more videos without eye protection. When I saw the taxation is theft shirt, I knew this guy would give good information. Thumbs up. There's also a comment which I'll put here for anyone outside of the US using dimensions of the cuts are, and he put them in millimeters. So I'll go ahead and put that up on the screen so you can see that if you don't use freedom units. Oh, here's another huge one. All right, so Steve says, I might recommend putting some wood glue between the joints before the screws for some added durability. Yes, 100 times yes. In hindsight, I absolutely should have done that. I should have used wood glue. It would have helped a ton. The box is still very sturdy, but wood glue would have been awesome. So great suggestion, Steve. Okay, someone says, this thing is heavy. I would use 1/2-inch plywood instead to reduce the weight and use the scrap wood or metal shelf brackets for cross bracing. I am not a fan of the 1/2-inch plywood. I just don't think that it's strong enough. I don't know how much you weigh. And like they said, if you put some bracing in there, it would probably be fine. This box is super heavy, but it's also very durable. I have nicked up the corners pretty well, just kind of throwing it around. I do not take great care of this box, so I'll show those on video kind of close up, some of the damage that I've gotten. But it's held together really well, but definitely use wood glue. Jesse Staples asks, ever think about adding some kind of material for grip? Yes, absolutely. I've never gotten around to it, but I work out in my carport, which gets pretty wet when it rains, and we've done some pretty sketchy box jumps in the rain. So maybe some grip tape or something along those lines, but this can get a little slick. I think it's actually more so the concrete that I'm on that scares me a little bit, but yeah, I would not recommend using these in rain, even though I do it. Peter says, well done. One thing I might change is putting in some 2x framing inside, just 2x4 ripped in half lengthwise. I'm 220 pounds and not gentle. So there's a lot of things that you could do to improve this box. Pocket holes, rabbets around to give it better rigidity. The reason I made it this way is just so almost anyone out there can go to a big box store or with very simple tools can make this box. Obviously, there's tons of things we could do to improve on this design, like the ones that Rogue makes and stuff where it's like puzzle pieces. You just need more plywood, you need more tools. Of course, we could improve on it. So yes, absolutely, you know, that would help. It would add to the weight, but of course that would help. Come on, give me some questions here. Do you recommend getting sanded plywood or hardwood plywood? Definitely wouldn't get hardwood plywood because that's gonna be very expensive. Sanded is fine, or not sanded, it would also be fine. This sheet, I think I said was $30. You could find some for like 20 bucks, I'm sure. The other thing is, so I said, you know, I keep it under the eave, so it's not getting direct sunlight or direct rain. It is exposed to the heat and humidity and a little bit of rain whenever we get like a good wind. The other thing is that I'm using this and dragging it around on concrete, which is also not great, and you'll see the corners are kind of busted up as well. A lot of people were saying that at Home Depot and Lowe's that they would make the cuts for them. I don't think you're gonna get really precise cuts from Home Depot and Lowe's, but it will definitely get you started. Great job. Did you pre-drill holes for the screws or just drive them? Please add screw size to your notes. So I talked about the screws already, and I did touch on that. Yes, pre-drilled the holes with a countersink bit. $30, Joshua Cummings says, $30 sheet of plywood, you're buying that good wood. Indeed. Love the shirt, thumbs up. The way the box is assembled, technically the 24-inch height, which is what I have here, is the least supported. It's only supported by the screws and the support in the center. If you turn it up to 30, then that side is actually gonna be supported by this side and this side. And if you turn it up to 20, it's supported on all four sides. So I'd be very confident at a really heavy weight jumping on the 20-inch side. I mean, no problem. You've got the support in the middle, and then all four sides are supporting this piece of plywood. So this is Michael. Thanks so much for the video. Was able to make my box. Only thing I did different was added internal support going both directions. That way I have good support for 30-inch box jump. So I touched on that. Absolutely. When you're jumping on this side, you've already got the two sides though. So I don't think you need any additional in that 30-inch direction. Great shirt. Thumbs up. Nice video. How much does it weigh? Ooh, good question. I'll be right back. 217.2. Oh, this reminds me of that Office episode where they weigh everyone and then Pam gets off the scale and they weigh everyone again so everyone knows how much Pam weighs.
Pam, you weigh 226 pounds?
166.8. Math, that's how much it weighs. How thick is the board? 3/4 inch plywood. Ooh, what's the size of the inside support piece? Go back and watch the other video. I'll also put it right here because I don't remember, but I'll screen cap that video and put it on the screen here. That little scrap at the end, save that. That's your support piece. Love the shirt, thumbs up. What am I missing? Why did he call it 3-in-1? I get box jumps and step ups. Anthony James. It's because you have 3 different heights. 20, 24, 30. Great video, thanks for sharing. One question, you did not explain how to work with the bow and the pieces. As I thought I did do that. You just screw them into each other as you go? Or is there a trick? Nope, I just screwed them into each other as you go. How far down did you put the handles? Oh, I don't know, looks like 4 inches, but whatever works for you. Does anyone know how much weight it'll hold? I do not know how much weight it'll hold, but we've had people 220, 230, 240 jump on this on the weakest side, which would be on the 24-inch height directly onto this for years with no issues. So take that how you will. Awesome shirt, thumbs up. How thick is the plywood? Your plywood is 3/4 inch thick. Extra thumbs up for the shirt. Good video, thumbs up. Better man than me, not using the straight edge to guide the saw. I just eyeballed it. What was the total cost of materials? It had to be just over $30. The sheet of plywood I think was 30 bucks. The number of screws I used was probably $5. Let's say $35. Richard Tester. Could have used wood glue to strengthen the joints. Yep. Tony, nice video. A suggestion for those that do not have a table saw would be to use a circular saw, like you said, but also use a clamped straight edge to aid in cutting a perfectly straight line. I also considered using wood glue to add extra strength. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to like make a little jig or just figure out the offset of your circular saw, clamp a straight edge on there and just run the saw down that way. That'll give you, you know, perfectly straight line. Does anyone know if it's sturdy enough to jump on the tall side the majority of the time? Yeah, absolutely. That tall side, it's supported in this direction and that direction. You're good to go. From TS. Oh, T-Series? Good video. Thanks for not using music. Eye protection, man. Yes, I know. There's going to be a lot of eye protection. I know that already. How do you make sure there's little to no wobble? Mine has a bit of wobble on some sides. That's from Jordan. Jordan, I think for me, the boxes are pretty square, and when I've had wobble, it's actually been because of the surface that it's on. So I've just kind of just moved it around on the ground until it didn't wobble anymore. Hopefully, it's not because yours is out of square. I did touch on in the other video kind of having to work the plywood if it's warped. That's okay. You just got to be patient and kind of work it to make sure everything kind of becomes square. It always amazes me that an entire society decides to use such ridiculous inferior measuring units. It's cringeworthy to watch someone explain measurements in 1/16 of an inch. Okay, Dan, the puzzle pattern the major brands cut the plywood into is called box joint. Maybe get woodworking book and teach yourself the basics so us here in the comments don't have to hold your hand. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. It was fun to go back to the comments 3 years later and just see kind of what everyone was saying. I did try to answer them as they came in, but I figured I'd put them all in this video. Thank you for watching Break It Yourself. Stay safe, as always. Don't forget to thumbs me up, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and if you're curious what RGPS stands for, it stands for